major NewsX TSG exclusive. Newly revealed letters from designated terrorist Masood Azhar, the founder of Jaish-e-Mohammed, has exposed his emotional helplessness and deep frustration with Prime Minister Narendra Modi following India's Operation Sindoor. In the letters, Azhar emotionally admits losing 10 family members and 4 friends in the precise strikes that devastated JEM infrastructure, revealing how the operation has left the terrorist leadership shaken and desperate as they reel from the heavy personnel and operational losses as well. Let's in fact take a look at what the letter states. We'll get you the details of what the letter actually has. Remember that these are multiple letters that we are talking about for you right now, and these letters have been addressed to a lot of people by Masood Azhar, and we have exclusively accessed them. So let's look at what the letter actually states. First of all, obviously the first thing that comes to notice is the family losses that Masood Azhar has in fact seen. 10 family members and 4 associates have been killed in the strikes, and elder sister Baji Jan and husband among the dead. Now remember that this is a Sunday Guardian in NewsX exclusive, and Masood Azhar is seen lamenting the deaths of his family members. 10 family members along with 4 of his friends, all dead because of those precision accurate strikes that India conducted on terror infrastructure across the line during Operation Sindoor in 2025. Now, let's look at what else he says. He says he's praised his sister's piety, household management and martyrdom desire. Multiple children described as birds of paradise. So, what Masood Azhar has written, he in fact mentions his elder sister as Baji Jan, and then in the letter he states that Baji Jan, I've always spoken to you about how excellent your household management skills are, and I've also seen how much you desire that all your children attain freedom in the name of religion, attain martyrdom in the name of religion, and that's what's happened right now, that's what's achieved. And he's mentioned the loss of lives of children as birds of paradise. Let's also look at what the letter states regarding Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He said that personally he is blaming Prime Minister Modi for the family deaths. He claims that the strikes crossed all limits of restraint. So personally now, this is a man who has founded a terrorist infrastructure, who's founded a terrorist network. He goes on to states in the letter and he's blaming Prime Minister Narendra Modi for launching Operation Sindoor that actually neutralized all these terror camps, all the terror infrastructure that were existing inside mosques and unassuming structures across the border. So let's also look at what he said about the Bahawalpur camp. Now remember that Bahawalpur was one of the 9 locations that were struck during Operation Sindoor in 2025, and over there was a mosque as well where religious teachings used to take place. That was under the guise of being a mosque. There were a lot of terror training that was being conducted. That's what intelligence reports were stating, and that was in fact hence targeted. Now what he has written on that front is that there is a Jamia Masjid, subhanallah, which was heavily damaged in the strikes during Operation Sindoor. He claims that there were angelic presence and miracles which actually protected the targets inside the mosque. Now remember that why he's talking about the mosque is that the mosque was damaged during these strikes, but he's mentioned in these letters that admittedly that there was one Fajr prayer that had been missed because of these strikes, because of the damage that was caused to the mosque. However, he has mentioned that the mosque continued to hold prayers later on, as there were many volunteers who came up, they helped rebuild the mosque. So all of that he has described in great detail in that letter. And remember that Bahawalpur was one of the major targets that India was trying to strike, and we struck that, and this letter actually proves how much damage was done. Let's also look at how Masood Azhar is claiming that prayers resumed quickly with only one Fajr missed, and supporters volunteered for immediate rebuilding. So even though we have proof, we have evidence of the entire terror infrastructure, the terror camps being destroyed in Bahawalpur, we have Masood Azhar writing in his letters that yes, there was damage, but then people came up to help. There were many people who made sure that the prayers are not missed. So that's what he is trying to in a way send out this message to all its cadres of Jaish-e-Mohammed. Let's also look at what he talks about casualties and ideology. There were a total of 36 people who were killed, and he's called it a major but a shock to the entire terror network, but it's not a defeat. So he's mentioned that yes, 36 people were killed because of those strikes, and he's also framed the deaths as a divine test and the path to martyrdom. So obviously this is something that is how they radicalize the people over there, and they've mentioned this narrative over there that this is a path to martyrdom, and again in these letters he's highlighted that. Let's also look at how there is a call for retaliation as well, which he has mentioned in the letters. He's urged the Pakistan military to counter strike India. He's also called for a ceasefire. He's also called a ceasefire a crime and forgiveness a sin. So he is in fact appealing to the Pakistan administration. Remember that this shows how deeply intertwined the Pakistan administration, the Pakistan military and terror infrastructure and terror organization like Masood Azhar's are intertwined over there across the border, because he is in fact appealing to the military that please conduct counter strikes against India because of Operation Sindoor. And he's also stated that ceasefires are a crime, it should not be done. So this is something that has been highlighted in these letters. Well, let's take this discussion forward with Colonel S.S. Pathania. He is a Shaurya Chakra winner and a defense expert who's also joining us, and Group Captain G.P. Bajpai, who is a former Indian Air Force officer. I thank you both for taking out your time and for speaking to NewsX. We truly appreciate it. A very good afternoon to both of you gentlemen. Let me start off this discussion with Colonel Pathania. Colonel Pathania, I want to understand your first reactions to these letters that Masood Azhar has actually written regarding Operation Sindoor. Obviously, this is the first admission of the number of deaths, the losses that he suffered personally as well, his family members dying, and then he's went on to go about the terror narrative that he has been following.
See, madam, these things were in the public domain earlier also, because when we launched the strike, Operation Sindoor, on their terrorist camp as well as the airfield, these details have come out, but then Pakistan never confirmed it, and they always said that India is telling lies. So it's a good thing that it is from a person like Azhar Masood, he's talking about that these are the real thing, and that's a great setback for these people. Now let's talk about Operation Sindoor. It was launched in a very, very meticulous manner, and the aim was to show our resolve, show our might of military, and tell Pakistan that you can't take us for granted. Pakistan has been getting away, with the parliament attack, then the attacks on Uri, Pulwama, Pahalgam. So they probably thought that, they can call a nuclear bluff and India will never retaliate to that extent. And they got a jolt, a big jolt, and this forced them to come on their knees within 4 days or so. So as they got all these terrorist, so-called assets are concerned, Munir has publicly, said that, all these Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Toiba and other terrorist organizations, they are their strategic assets. And now, with that kind of a thing, which is known to entire world, Pakistan has received a great setback, and I doubt, at the same time, they will continue with the same, Operation Topak, which they conceived in 90s, 89, 90s, to make India bleed in 1,000 cuts for 1,000 years. Now, our government also taken the cognizance, and we are going for the digital borders. So when the digital borders are prepared, that whatever little infiltration is taking place today, that will also come to a halt. And let me share with you, when we talk about Jammu and Kashmir, there is around 80% decrease which has set in as far militancy related activities are concerned. So it's a great victory for India. And we projected our resolve, we projected our might and made Pakistan bow down within a 3 to 4 days time. So I
Absolutely.
compliment government for that. They've done a wonderful job, and Pakistan has to think twice or thrice before making this kind of a misadventure again.
Absolutely. And Colonel Patania, I also want to get your observations regarding this very particular, aspect of the letter where Masood Azhar is seen, appealing to the Pakistan administration, to the Pakistan military that please, do counter strikes. How does this show what kind of how hand in glove both the Pakistan military is with terror infrastructure that is inside, and we see the Pakistan government actually go out on top of the world and say that we don't have any hand in the terror infrastructure that is there inside Pakistan.
Listen, ISI was entrusted by the Operation Topak, concept that they will be creating these kind of a terror organization. They will, fund them, they will train them, they will nurture them, and they will protect them. So that is a part of the game which Pakistan is playing now. And Pakistan government is protecting them. There is no doubt about it. In fact, their officers and other military personnel, they are attending their whenever there is somebody has been struck by the so-called unknown gunmen. So we all are clear about it, that they are doing it. Now, a person and then, we talk about approaching, Azhar Mahmood doesn't have any say. He is a person who is the incarnation of devil and an enemy of humanity. But then Pakistan government itself is evil. When I say government, I use the word, there is a dictatorship and Munir is running the show at the moment. So the elected government, it's a sham and it has got no say whatsoever. Now, these kind of a people, they will always use an occasion where they can, optimize it by spreading their ideology, using the religious thing that you will go to heaven and, start their radicalization of the people. And in the bargain, innocent people or Pakistans are suffering and they are being butchered. Now, probably it will take some more time when the people of Pakistan, they will start, seeing very clearly about the evil game plan, which these people, so-called jihadi, they have woven for them, and they will counter it. It's not very far off. And maybe in the next couple of years, you will find they are no taker as for this selling of jihad or, Ghazba Hind concept they are trying to implement in India, because by then they would have realized their limitations also. Imagine a
Absolutely.
country which is in totally, politically destroyed, economically devastated. They have no money to run the show with their ability, $10 billion, dollars foreign reserve, against which we have around $700 billion. Can they sustain a war? Can they think of a war? And when you talk about the military might, that country is one-fifth of our geographical area which we have, and their military might is less than half. How they can really see or feel or plan that we going to strike India? Their operation, what they were conceived as a retaliation, that has failed. They're all the drones and aircraft, whatever they tried, in spite of the help from China, they had to face a humiliating defeat, and they had to come down on their knees and ask for ceasefire, which Trump obliged them because of his own vested interest.
Absolutely. Some very valid points raised by you over there, Colonel Patania. I thank you so much for your valuable perspective on this issue. And like Colonel